Hi, Chuck.
Good evening, gentlemen.
You got a haircut.
Sorry?
That looks like you got a haircut.
I did get a haircut.
All of them.
Get a haircut. Yes. Yes, he went a little nuts. It's like, yeah, fine, it'll grow back. It's like weeds, it'll grow back.
Yep.
Well, some of it will anyway.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, I gave up.
Yes.
All right.
There are parts of my body that are retreating.
Yeah, I think many of us. Have the show notes up. Close all this stuff.
But it still kind of puts me in limbo as far as the My Mac podcast goes.
I know. Well, I said you could come on my feed anytime.
Yeah, and I've talked to Gaz about that because I suggested, because he's not using it right now, I suggested we use the Mac and Forth feed.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of put his show on hiatus. I don't know if he still has a hosting service or whatever.
Sure.
But it's, I feel really weird about it. You know, if it was my own show, I might feel differently.
Sure.
But it's Tim's show. He started that show. And it's the podcast that has been on his website and network like since 2004.
Oh, I understand.
So, you know, I don't want to be presumptuous and just go ahead and start recording stuff without him or without his, I don't even know how to put it.
No, I understand.
I think we all understand, Guy. I would offer this, that, you know, given the circumstance, yours is different than what it would be if it were me, but you've been a big part of it. And I would think that in Tim's position that he would rather see the legacy continue.
Oh, he's given me, he's already told me, and I don't know if he'd remember it. A couple of weeks ago, he called me out of the blue and said, My Mac podcast is yours. The problem, though, is he does the RSS feed and he has access to the server, which I don't.
Oh.
So I can't upload it to the feed for you know, where all the other My Mac shows have gone. And so we've been dark now for, 2 months?
Yeah. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you did it that way.
No, probably not.
Yeah, but
like
you're right.
I'm hoping to hear from Julie. I'm hoping to hear from Julie tomorrow so that I can arrange to go there over the weekend.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. I'm ready. Are you guys ready? I got the show notes up.
I'm on the wrong.
Where's Jeff?
I'm in the wrong show.
Jeff has been busy.
Jeff doesn't love us anymore.
He doesn't.
Aww.
No, he's got working with his family issues. We miss him. It'll be back. All right. You guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hey, Dave, before you start, I apologize. I have not been watching you. Talk a little bit.
I do not have camo on at all.
Okay. That's exactly why I was asking. Yes, I
already
mouth,
thought of that. Soon. I'm going to have to figure that out. I don't know why it's happening.
Yeah, your mouth matches because I know that we had that issue the other night for a different reason, but
no, it was camo.
I won't ask what that means.
No, some reason Camo Studio is causing a lag on my.
Oh yeah, Camo is like infamous for that.
Yeah, I might have to rethink it. I'm just using the Insta 360 to link software.
Well, I'm not seeing any lag. I'm not. Seeing.
I think I'm. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, not tonight. I mean, the other night there was.
Yeah, when you caught it, and I turned it off.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. My notes. Here we go. All right, I'm ready. 365. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Underpants.
Welcome to episode. All right.
That joke never gets old.
It
never gets old. It just, I wish it would get old, but it never gets old.
It never gets old.
Because we love Jeff.
We do.
All right, here we go. Try again. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 365 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, Mac, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we have Guy Searle back on the show. How you doing, Guy?
Thank you. Good to be here. I'm so excited. Let's go.
Yes. We'd love to always have you here. I'm so glad you're here. And Marty Jensius, thank you for being here. How you doing? Glad you're here.
I'm doing good. It's I tried to work on a big project all day, and what I did was put off working on a big project all day. So I'm ready to sit and chat with friends.
Good. Yeah, I had lots of stuff and some internet woes, which I'll talk about later. Eric Bolden, he's here. How you doing, Eric?
Good to be here. Spent all night last night making cherry pie filling and looking like, I was going to get arrested soon if I wasn't careful. And I'm still here and free. So
all right.
Success.
Glad you're here. And last but certainly not least, Chuck Joyner. Thank you for being here. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Dave. I had a major Microsoft issue this week that I'm not going to talk about on the show, that we will talk about later.
Damn.
After dark.
Yeah, it'll be after the show because it makes no sense, and I'm afraid I might not be able to resist the urge to use some expletives to describe the situation.
So you're not going to talk about Microsoft on show 365.
I didn't even think of that. Good one. I think we have a show title right off the bat there. Good one, bye. Well, I'm glad you're here, Chuck. Thanks for being here. So yeah, we got the usual stuff going on this week. Vision Pro, good. It's not the beta has been out. Got couple stories I got, and decided to start a little new segment called In Touch with SetApp. I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through some apps. So we're going to get to that a little later. But meanwhile, as we always do, we start off with In Touch with Vision Pro this week. And of course, we've had some beta releases. Apple did release the developer beta of Beta 2 of Vision OS 26. And then alongside, it was pushed out this past week on all the rest of the operating systems. And again, we talked about what it was released during WW 2025. Got some spatial widgets, much improved personas, and support for the 180 degree and 360 degree videos, and all kinds of improvements. And we didn't see a lot of anything that was new other than some under hood improvements and bug fixes. I did have a chance to take a look. We of course talked about it on the Vision Profiles podcast. Marty, did you catch anything out of the ordinary for this release?
Nothing out of the ordinary, just some changes in user experience.
Yep.
So, excuse me, you got me when I'm.
You okay?
Yeah, water went down the wrong way. Water was supposed to help, but water drowned me.
Water drowned you.
The virtual display, the Mac virtual display works now, which is exciting for a lot of folks. Large calendar widget, it's available, so you can have a large calendar on your wall.
Yeah, widgets.
Little things here and there, new things with the meditation app. I've kind of went through and tested all of these things out as it goes. So nothing major, still no Jupiter to sit on or Jupiter moon to sit on to watch Jupiter, but that environment hopefully will come. They said maybe beta 3 or beta 4. We'd see it.
So did either of you play with the magnifier?
I did not.
So it's really kind of cool. So you get like this rectangle magnifier, and you can slide it back and forth in your field of view, and then everything on the other side of it gets magnified, which is really cool, because the hard part with magnifiers are always that you're holding it with one hand, and then you've got something else that really needs two hands to manipulate underneath it, and you can get arms for it. This is neat because it's just a virtual magnifier that sits, and then you can hold a book up or have paperwork underneath it or a phone or a watch, and it's nicely magnified. I will say that when I hit the button that says magnify the entire screen, I was not able to turn that off because it wouldn't let me press the off button, and everything was magnified. And if you stand up and your whole world is magnified, none of the distances are right. And I finally ended up having to reboot, and then I could turn it off. I'm hoping they add an audio control for that, so you can tell the oscillator to flip that switch. But it's very cool.
But if your whole world's magnified, then it places you back in perspective.
Yeah.
You're just a tiny, tiny person.
Yeah, but when you reach out and your hand is like ginormous, it's disconcerting.
You just pretend like you're Godzilla.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's about it with beta. There is a new app, a new collaborative 3D immersive experience called Analog 2. It's by a company called Spatial. They just announced Spatial is a pioneer in immersive design, and they announced the release of Analog 2, which is a next generation collaborative design platform built natively for Apple Vision Pro. And it was developed from the ground up for spatial computing. And Analog 2 is an end-to-end platform that enables creative teams to work together with full 3D content, reviewing and iterating and finalizing high fidelity projects in real time with no coding required. Found this to be pretty interesting. This is a really cool app, and a lot of folks are talking about some good stuff here. You can do team and project management using the tools, as well as I've got the workspaces while you're doing it. I have not tried it yet. I just discovered this actually today, and I thought this interesting. Marty, have you seen this before?
Yeah, I saw the announcement and opened it up as an app, and I went as far as I could with it before I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. But it really it just begins to really cement the proprietary uses and the enterprise uses of Vision Pro. And I'm beginning to think, we didn't know what the watch was about, and then they discovered health. I'm beginning to think, at least for the Vision Pro, they're really going to push it heavy, and it will grow on the enterprise end, and the glasses or Vision Air will be more for the entertainment end.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Eric, have you tried this?
I haven't had a chance to try it.
Yeah, me either. So
yeah, I think it's going to be popular, and there's going to be a lot more of these.
Chuck, what do you think as far as this 3D technology with the Vision Pro? You think it's something? Does that excite you?
Yeah, again, I'm not a Vision Pro owner, but it's one more thing that I feel like this is kind of an obvious use for something like the Vision Pro. We say it so often. This is so early days for Vision Pro, and so I think that it's interesting to see what people are coming out with slowly but surely. And again, it's one of those things that everybody wanted instant gratification. They wanted everything that could possibly be imagined. Like the iPhone and like the iPad, we got simple apps. Now we're starting to get a few more things. And developers are starting to see ways to do it, and even Apple is starting to see things that they can do with it. So I think we're at the ground floor.
I would agree with that for sure. Guy, you want to add anything to this?
Well, I also don't have a Vision Pro. My main concern about the entire platform, and it's been beaten to death, is just how expensive the entry point is for something like this. So in order for it to have any kind of success, it has to go to the enterprise side. It's not a casual device, and we're coming up on 2 years that it's been out, and I'm still kind of waiting to see, okay, well, yeah, what is there for the rest of us? And so far, other than some immersive movies, there hasn't been a whole lot. So I'm still kind of holding my breath. The way the platform is right now, and putting aside any vision problems that I have, I'm still kind of waiting to see, the rabbit that comes out of the hat from Apple. And, until that happens, I'm just kind of standing on the sidelines watching everybody else.
Okay. That makes sense. So should be interesting to see where that goes with this, the spatial stuff. This article is interesting, and I wanted to touch on a little bit. We did talk about this before, but I thought it would be worth talking about it here. The Vision Pro proves Apple isn't treating the Vision Pro like a hobby. Like you said, almost 2 years, Guy, since its unveiling. The headset hasn't gone to mass market. It's getting better in ways that point to a broader future for spatial computing. When they had talked about it in 2023, it was during that keynote at WWDC. It was questionable about the debut of this because it went a whole year before it actually came out. And the headset was just not Apple's first all-new platform. It was since the Apple Watch, like we just talked about. And the company's opportunity to define what that is exactly a computer you strap onto your head that should do. But being Apple, it's purposely steered clear of existing concepts and trying to go into the metaverse and virtual reality and all that fun stuff. But during one of the discussions here at the WWDC where there's some people asking, okay, is this really going to be something that is not a hobby? And I think it's getting there. I think, and even Mark Gurman from Bloomberg was reporting that they were, again, we were talking about the Vision Pro Air or some sort of glasses, and where is this really going to go with this device? But this was a really good article to get through this. And Marty, we talked about this, but I wanted to hit on this a little bit more. What were your thoughts on this?
I read it the first time and I read it a second time, and there's less. When I read it the first time, the article read a lot more hopeful than I read when I read it the second time. He's talking about his experience with the new software and personas. He's comparing it to other devices that are out there or aren't out there yet. With Zuckerberg and Lex Friedman doing a demo of their glasses that they're supposedly preparing. I like the title of it. I like the fact that he's pointing out some of the issues that we've talked about on this program and other programs. Mm-hmm. But it's in the world of articles about Vision Pro, it's kind of a positive, uplifting. One of the few positive, uplifting articles about it.
Okay, Chuck, any thoughts with the what? Do you think it's going to stay as a hobby, or do you think it's got a possibility here to not be?
Oh, I don't think it's a hobby. I don't think it's been a hobby. I think that was just an. Sorry, Guy.
Oh, I was just gonna say I've always hated that description of the Vision Pro. As far as that it was a hobby, it makes absolutely zero sense.
Yeah,
like the Apple TV was a hobby.
Spend billions of dollars on to develop to this degree and then release it to. I mean, we're not talking like, well, they spent $10 billion supposedly on an Apple car, and then we never saw anything from it. Doesn't matter. We never saw anything from it. Nothing was confirmed. This is a product that you can hold in your hand. Right. That Apple has spent a crap ton of money to make.
Yeah.
It's not a hobby.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that you're right, Guy, 100%. It's never been a hobby. And I too get a little annoyed with people that just because we are not seeing updates every single week from Apple on the Apple Vision Pro, that they think, oh, well, it's not having attention paid to it. I think there's a lot of attention being paid to it. It just takes, some things just take time.
Yes.
I don't care how much money Apple has or how many developers are working on it. It still takes time.
Yep. Agreed. What about you, Eric? Do you have any thoughts?
Widgets. I I'm impressed by they mention widgets, but maybe not how important they are likely to be. The whole idea of being able to take a white walled room and completely convert it over to your very personal office with the clock just so and the calendar on the wall and your favorite pictures and a picture window looking out over the valley, yet still be able to get your computer screen up and get all your work done, or move that all the way and then watch a video and keep up with the sports scores. The way to customize your environment, either fully immersively or interactively with the rest of the room, it's finally really doable, and it remembers between reboots, so you can arrange everything and have it all set up. You can have more than one room. That, more than anything else, I think convinces me that they're really onto something. They're building kind of the next pieces to get it ready, and there's going to be a whole nother wave of people that will pick this up just to be able to sort of customize their environment in a spot that you're not allowed to customize your environment.
And it's just not the widgets, it's also apps that have kind of object permanence from reboot to reboot. So I have Fantastical hanging on my wall, for example.
Yep, that's pretty awesome. That software developer was able to get that working on that. So,
when accessibility features like being able to slap a color filter on for those of us that are partially or fully colorblind, so that you can actually read content without having to change the content, and everything you see is adjusted so it's fully visible, yet it doesn't affect anybody else. I really appreciate that.
Agreed. Next topic here on Vision Pro is the Apple Vision Pro will help get to the bottom of colonoscopy cancer detection. In its research study, some doctors have been were wearing Vision Pros during colonoscopies to explore spatial computing and get real-time cancer detection. What they've been hearing about potential use cases for this with the Vision Pro is in a medical setting for a while now, but probably longer than it's been existing in the purchasable product. They've seen medical professionals suggesting that the Vision Pro could be a valuable tool for anesthesiologists, nursing managers, and general practitioners. And surgeons are now ready to sing it for its keyhole surgeries in India. Okay, but now it's heading somewhere new. The endoscopy suite for at least one specific suite. Cosmo Pharmaceuticals, which in collaboration with Chicago's Rush University, aims to evaluate the use of the spatial computing and AI tools during a colonoscopy procedure. It combines Apple spatial computing with the headset with the Medtronic's GI Genius, which is a tool designed to detect and potentially cancerous polyps during colonoscopies. And the doctors will be able to be outfitted with the GI Genius, and that means during the procedure, the Apple Vision Pro will overlay real-time info directly in the doctor's field of view, and then negating the need to look at separate monitors or screens. The study is going to start in July of 2025 at Rush University Medical Center right in Chicago, and it'll be led with some great folks that know the digestive diseases and such. I think this is exciting to see when it comes to medical breakthroughs with AI. And I don't know. I'll let Chuck let me know what do you think about this having this as a tool for medical procedures.
Hey, again, it feels like kind of a natural use of what Apple Vision Pro could be. We've already heard about surgeons using Apple Vision Pro in the operating room, and so and the colonoscopy thing. I mean, that's something that everybody should be paying attention to, and it sounds like this has the potential to make it even easier maybe not from the patient side, but definitely from the doctor's side, to be more efficient in detecting and treating. So it just the Apple Vision Pro, just use your imagination as to what it could do, and think about, how many times it would be beneficial to be able to climb inside something without having to climb inside it. And a colonoscopy is kind of a logical thing, just like surgery would be. That you could get up close a lot easier. There's so many things you could do with it. So I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to another colonoscopy, but I would feel good. I'd feel good about a doctor wearing an Apple Vision Pro while he's doing it, because I feel like he has a better chance of actually finding anything that might be going wrong.
Yep. How about you, Marty? What do you think on this?
They're going to have to make the glasses a lot smaller if they're going to use it for. Okay, I get a pass on. I get a pass on this. Everybody who has had colorectal cancer, raise their hand, or should I say, raise your finger. It is.
Oh my gosh.
When this article came out, I really drilled deep on this, because 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now, I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and I was giving a talk I had the surgery, went to MacStock, was giving a talk on AI, and they were talking about how AI can do and look at thousands of scans and compare it to your scan and point out places where there might be possibilities of cancer, better than what a doctor would predict. This company has been doing that with their wand, or whatever the device is that the device that they would use, and has been a leader in looking at colorectal cancer and colorectal polyps. And so I think it's real exciting. I like the idea of, just imagine you're sitting, if you're a physician, and there's a probe up your patient's backside, you can move along and have the video kind of immersive at 180 or 360 if you turn around, to look at what's going on in the inner walls of what you would get from a colonoscopy.
Right.
Just can't do that. You can't imagine that.
Okay. Eric, Guy, when you want anything to that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Guy.
Number one, Dave, thank you for including this article this evening. So many things that I could say,
Please
and
don't.
I won't say, because I understand that this is a very serious topic.
It is.
And the fact that a doctor can now literally crawl up your ass to find out if there's anything wrong with you, I think is wonderful.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to have, to be able to sense
I
it.
could go farther, and so could they.
I'll move on. Eric, go wrap it up.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is, until we started seeing all these articles, I hadn't really realized how many doctors have neck and back injuries from looking back and forth between all the different displays between surgeries. And I can't imagine how much better outcomes will be if they can reduce the neck pain in the doctors, so they can actually concentrate at what they're looking at, and not the pain shooting down their necks. So this is just great news.
Yep. No, I agree. And then lastly, we've still been wondering if Samsung is ever going to release a headset to offer better displays than Apple Vision Pro. Their upcoming AR VR headset will feature more advanced displays than the Apple Vision Pro, but a new supply chain report is revealing that the specifications and sourcing strategies, Samsung is preparing to launch its first XR headset in 2025, but reportedly it contains displays that surpass the resolution of the Vision Pro. But it's claimed that the device will use 1.3-inch OLEDs on silicon micro displays with a pixel density of over 3,800 pixels per inch. In comparison, the Vision Pro uses 1.42. Okay, so they're going to have some bigger pixels. I mean, but I don't think Samsung has really done a very good job of marketing this and getting ready to sell it, because we kind of forgot about it after they had the introduction of it. Is that right, Marty?
Megapixels aren't always like the whole story anyway.
Yeah. And if you delve a little deeper into it, you'll find out that this is not going to increase very much in terms of the number of pixels you're going to see. And the concern with it is with the smaller screens, you're going to have a smaller field of view, which has been the complaint about Apple Vision Pro. So Samsung's going to put out a device, unless they do some type of internal processing that we don't know yet. They're going to put out a device with a smaller field of view. The other part of this article is Samsung's access to Sony to get these screens done, whereas Apple's kind of like they're selling us all that they have, but apparently not.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything to this?
I can't help it. I want to throw in, and I'll apologize for the comparison, but people are getting hung up on the specs as opposed to the functionality. And it's like Windows versus Mac. It's okay. So Windows is an operating system. So is Mac OS. Samsung's going to have a headset. Apple already has a headset. But what's going to be the experience once you put it on? And what's the software compatibility going to be like? So this still feels like a little bit of a Me Too product to me. And I'm sorry, but you haven't heard anybody talking about it. I have no idea what software might be available for it. You have Marty and Eric on here every week talking about, new little things that are coming out, but new things that are coming out. So we all love tech specs, but you got to put it into real world use and your own real world use before you judge which is the best product for you.
Ship.
Go ahead, Guy.
No, that was it. People who actually make real products ship. So make the product, ship it, and we can make our own minds. Otherwise,
and that's not. I don't think, Guy. I think you and I agree. This is not being Apple fanboys. This is just if somebody makes a better product, great. Good for them. I just want to see it.
Yep.
All right. Let's go on and to talk about the beta in iOS. iOS 26 came out this past week, and not overly exciting things I've saw. There's some bug fixes and some other things we've been talking about it. Of some of the new things that are out, including a new control center and reducing transparency, and Safari's got some updates, and we've talked about this a bunch of times already. So I didn't see anything overly exciting. Did you guys, Marty or Eric, on this?
Nothing discernible, really, for me.
The only thing I hit is I use Mona for posting on Mastodon, and initially it quit on launch, and then they put out an update, and so it continued working. Yeah.
So I've been running it on my 16E, and it's been working great. That hasn't been too bad. Guy, are you still going running beta?
No, I haven't gone to the beta on my phone.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, nothing overly exciting about the iOS 26. Couple things I'll mention. iOS 26 is going to bring some new functionality to the HomePod. This was new this week. It's the HomePod software 26 is adding support to crossfade, which is an Apple Music feature that improves transitions between songs. The beta testers have had this the second HomePod software 26 with the iOS 26 betas, and had option to enable this. The toggle is a little bit hidden, but can be found by opening up the Home app and go to settings and tapping a person's name and then choosing Apple Music. You can do crossfade, where it can be set anywhere from 1 second to 12 seconds, and users can adjust the fade in, fade out for a period of song transitions. When crossfade is toggled on, the volume of the song would be ending lower and gradually. So with volume on that song that comes on will increase. So it's got some interesting stuff here. Nothing overly exciting, honestly. I mean, as far as
it's obviously using some form of what Apple is calling Apple Intelligence to be able to do this, to create songs like this on the fly. And this is just another example of people saying, well, Apple is so far behind in AI, but they're just kind of releasing stuff that actually does the kinds of things that most people want them to do, but it's in the background.
Right. Yeah, beyond that, there's a lot. There was going to be a lot of other items that I was going to touch on, but we can go ahead and move on. One of the things I thought was interesting and cool is it's the 20th anniversary of taking podcasts mainstream with iPod and iTunes. So 20 years ago, that was in 2005. That's the 20th anniversary of iTunes gaining support for podcasts. Apple has shared a new webpage highlighting the 20 podcasts the company loves. I thought I saw Mac Voices on there. Oh, maybe not. It was it's exciting times that the podcasts, the way how far they've evolved in all these years, and like I said, Apple has they love podcasts, and they said since the medium has come to iTunes in 2005, it had dedicated countless hours of helping people discover the shows, and 20 years, 20 favorites, and that's what they did. So. And there was a press release related about that back in 2005 when Steve Jobs actually said podcasting is the next generation of radio, and users can now subscribe to over 3,000 free podcasts and have each new episode automatically be delivered over the internet onto their computer or their iPod. So, Chuck, what do you think? This is 20 years? I can't believe it's been that long.
I can't either, Dave, but it's really interesting to understand how quickly, maybe not quickly after 20 years, but how easily the word podcast has slipped into the vernacular. And I know there's still a lot of people that don't know what they are, but there are a lot of people that do. And they're turning to podcasts as a different type of entertainment medium. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, and I know there are a number of others who have too. And there are also a lot of newcomers there. As it became bigger and better, you had some of the mainstream folks come on, and that was a double-edged sword because it improved the visibility of podcasting, but it also introduced more competition so that the smaller guys got squeezed a bit. But overall, now it's a completely viable thing to say, I have a podcast, and you are very credible with it if you follow just a few of the basic rules.
Yep.
And unfortunately, some of those rules are really dictated by some of the old style media. You have to be consistent. You have to have a little bit of quality about you, especially when it comes to the audio part.
Yep.
But I think it's exciting that it's 20 years ago. And it started because of the iPod. So,
right.
Apple here's another industry that Apple has created out of just thin air.
Right. And Guy, you've been a podcaster for a long time. What are your thoughts on this?
Since 2005, oddly enough.
Yes.
The fact that there are so many different tools and so many different ways to create podcasts that are either no cost or low cost. And obviously people are making money on it since a lot of these places are still around, is a testament to the longevity of independent audio and video productions. And you can call them podcasts, you can call them vidcasts, you can call it whatever you want.
Netcast.
But it seems to be here to stay. And when you look at entire platforms like TikTok was kind of built on the idea of short content being created by mostly independents, and it's completely taken off to the point where YouTube has, you know, their own kind of version of it and all the rest of it. But I'm looking forward to seeing how far this will go. Some people make a pretty good living at it. They have lots of resources that most of us don't have. But what it still really comes down to, even 20 years later, is you have to have the passion for the topic that you're podcasting about, or don't bother doing it because you'll just come off as phony. You know, I've been a Mac guy and doing Mac podcasts since the whole thing began. And I'm still in love with the platform. I'm still in love with hearing my own voice, you know, on not only my own podcast, but other people's podcasts. Thank you very much, David. And I'm just looking forward to see where it goes from here. I need to get back on Chuck's show is what I need to do.
Yes, you do.
It's been really quiet for you, hasn't it, Chuck?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're welcome anytime, Guy.
Okay, good.
Of course. And Marty, you've been podcasting for quite a while. What do you think?
Yeah, I just checked this because I can never remember. And, you know, this talks about starting in 2005. My first podcast was January 5th, 2006. Wow. And I remember distinctly having to convince the guy who was an older professor at the university that I was at, no, this is good. It's going to be okay. And we did an in-the-room conversation about it. And I looked at the lists and, you know, it's like all best of lists or retrospective lists. I was like, this is not my jam.
I've never heard of most of those.
Yeah. And, you know, some of there's one NPR one on there that I was familiar with and still listen to and see it. And then, you know, the Daily and there were other things that I was familiar, but some of them were like, I can't figure out how this became a thing. But that's my limited worldview.
And Eric, you're more of a newbie in the podcast world in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. I mostly listen to podcasts. Yeah. And I've enjoyed all kinds of podcasts. Yeah, sure. and different lengths and people and backgrounds and special effects. I'm just happy they're all out there. It really has kept me alive.
Yep.
You know, because of not falling asleep driving late at night or early in the morning or whatever. It's It's been really nice.
That podcast cranked up loud.
Listen to the MyMac podcast. We're not very good, but we'll keep you up.
Yeah, for sure. I will say I started June 1st, 2016. So it's been just a little over 9 years since this
right
podcast
after the first Mac Stock.
Yeah, it was. It was all Chuck's fault that got me into this. So it caused this mess.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you for putting it that way. I appreciate that.
No, I'm definitely kidding. It was a great experience, and you guys all welcomed me, and I've talked that story before. So it's it's been pretty amazing. 9 years. I mean, we're going to keep it going because we have a heck of a lot of fun, and I think a lot of people like listening. So, but that's 20 years. Gosh, time has just flown by. It's just crazy. It really is. We'll talk a little bit about Mac OS. Mac OS 26 was just released. That's beta 2 as well, Tahoe. And they guess they redesigned the Finder app icon. You know how important that is. It looks a little bit different than the first one. It was a white with blue, and now it's blue with white. So I guess they kind of decide where they want to go with this. We did talk about the menu bar background option, so you can change the background of the menu bar, as well as you can also customize the menu bar and turn things on and on and off, similar to what a Bartender and Ice does. So will that sure lock those apps? I don't know, but you do have those options in there with that, and a number of other things. I did try screen sharing with Beta 2, and I shared it from my Mac Mini, M4 Mac Mini, right over to my TV using my Apple TV, and it shared flawlessly. And it was actually nice way to transition to be able to show things on the screen. You've always been able to do that, but I've noticed that it's much smoother than it was on Sequoia and even prior to that. So I'm impressed how that is done. But it'll continue to it'll continue to do that. You also, if you have your AirPods connected, you can now get onto the beta of AirPods. I know that kind of scares me. I don't know if I want to do that, but you can do that. So there are some other cool things. There was a new recovery assistant feature that was added in iOS 26. So you can recover your device even if it doesn't start up automatically. But they're going to be starting to look at that a little closer. Then also discussions about where Rosetta 2 is going to go, and then I believe it's going to be the end of the line very soon. And then the Intel, of course, Intel Macs after 2019 will be supporting Tahoe, and I think that'll be the end of the road for the Intel. So we knew it was coming with Intel Macs, and we definitely. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where all that goes, and it should be some fun things. Anybody want to add anything on the Mac OS?
5 years is that's
I think it's
good long time.
Pretty fair. It's pretty fair. Yeah. Got to remember the Intel Macs came out in 2006 because that's what got me into Macs in the first place. That was my. Well, I did get like a used PowerBook. Was it a PowerBook? No, or what was the small Mac? Am I forgetting? I'm having a brain cramp, but.
Oh, was it the colored ones?
No, it was the PowerBook. I think it was the small one, the G4. It was the G4.
Okay.
Yeah. So my very first Mac was a white MacBook, and that was the cool Mac at the time. So, and that's what made me never turn back once it came out on Intel. So I was late bloomers. You guys we're in the old ages that I wish I'm sadly missed. I wish I was involved with that, but
you did not miss much.
I know I didn't. A lot of people were not
Compared
happy
to what
with the
we
way
have today. You're fine.
way Mac OS went back over those years. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on the Mac this time around. So as I mentioned, I wanted to start a new feature here. We may do it every week, or maybe maybe once a month, or we'll see where it goes. But if anybody isn't familiar with SetApp, I think most of us here have it. What SetApp is it's by a company called MacPaw. MacPaw is a Ukrainian-based company, and it allows you to be subscribing more or less to dozens of applications with one subscription. Right now, I think there's about 250 different applications available in the SetApp catalog, which includes iOS, depending on which license you get. So you can actually sign up and get just a Mac only, or you can get the Mac OS and iOS. And it also has AI. They've been incorporating a lot of AI into that as well. But I've been a subscriber for many years. I think, Guy, I don't think you are, but Marty, you are, and Chuck, you are. And are you have SetApp, Eric? I don't think you did, right?
I've considered it, and more so now, I think.
Yeah. So,
but convenient.
I do have a link in the show notes that I could invite you as a friend to join. So that would help support the show a little bit. But that link is in the show notes. But I want to talk about a couple apps that one that just came on board as new. I think a lot of people that are Mac users are pretty familiar with this app called KeyQ. This is you can work faster with shortcuts, and it allows you to be able to have different keystrokes and be able to go through and work with those different applications there. And I find it to be pretty cool. Has anybody used KeyQ before? I don't think so.
I know of it.
Yeah, so that's what I say. That's what's great about SetApp. You can easily discover a lot of these apps pretty easily here. Yeah, basically what you do is you're working much faster with shortcuts. You can view all shortcuts that are on the menu bar. You can access files, folders, and sites instantly. It gives you you can create custom shortcuts. So it's more not as hardcore as the Shortcuts app that Apple provides. But the nice thing about it, it's included in your SetApp subscription, so it's free, and it also gives you some great opportunities to make things a little easier for you. So that was KeyQ. Also, there's another one called Proxy Man. This is also an app for like a networking app that allows you to be able to check things as far as where we are when it comes to your network and being able to check the settings on that. And let me pull it up here. And it does give you a very good way of being able to check your traffic is really what it is. So what it does is debugs your web traffic. It will pin domains, and then it views HTTP and HTTPS traffic in plain text. It allows you to use filters to target specific traffic. It does work on both Mac and iOS, and so you have a license for both if you have the subscription for both. And it's basically debugging your like a middleman, also proxy man. So it categorizes your apps and domains and such. It's a little hardcore, but if you're into this stuff, it's kind of cool to do that. And the way that iOS apps install, it's kind of cool. You just click the Get iOS app, and then on the screen it pops up a QR code. Then you use your iPhone to scan that app. And then it'll automatically open where that app is in the App Store. Then you install it, and then you click next, and then there's another QR code that will add the license. So you don't even have to think about like you do when you go to the App Store, like when it's in-app purchase. So that's how you get the app to work. Marty, have you installed any iOS apps on SetApp, or you just do Mac?
I just use primarily Mac, because I forget that I have that option to do iOS apps.
Yeah, depending on the license you got. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and and if for those not familiar with SetApp, if you can go through the catalog of 260 apps that they have, there are some really good apps in there that I've been paying for license fees for a long time. And I understand that you want to support developers in ways that you can support developers, but it really is a subscription-based kind of easy way to get a whole catalog of apps that you're going to use regularly anyways.
Yeah. How about you, Chuck? What kind of apps have been key? I like Clean My Mac. I use that one. I didn't even mention that one. That one's a really good, secure way of keeping your Mac clean from uninstalling apps to making sure the memory's clean and your storage and all that. So what are things you've been using?
Well, before I do that, Dave, if you don't mind, I'm going to hijack the conversation just for a second. Please do. Because of what Marty just said. We interviewed the SetApp, the SetApp people when they were first coming out, because one of the concerns was, were you taking money out of developers' pockets? And one of the beauties, I think, here of SetApp is that it's almost a merit-based system, that the way that the developer gets paid from the subscription you pay SetApp is how much you're using their app. So if you find something that you use all the time, that the developer gets a bigger piece of your subscription. And so, in other words, your subscription is not just being split up 260 something ways. It's being done based on what you download and what you use. And I love that fact, because it feels like it's the way it should be. And not that I don't want to support any developer whose app I don't use, but I really do want to support the developers of the apps that I do use. So. Okay. That said, I'm going to point one out that some people I've mentioned this too think I'm crazy, but I absolutely do not want to live without this. It's an app called OpenIn. And what it does is once you load it and activate it, it captures any web link click and will pop up a list of the browsers installed, and you can control that list that you have installed on your machine. So if you click a link and you decide you want it in Safari, you pick Safari. You click and you want it in Chrome, you can open in Chrome. Opera, here we go. Opera, Edge, whatever, DuckDuckGo, whatever it is, you can decide where you want it to open. Now, you might think that that sounds burdensome, but I love this because it allows me to use my Mac. And if I'm opening a personal link, I'll send it one place. If I'm opening a business link, I'll send it another. So, that way it's sort of a way to automatically segregate things and keep them organized so that I don't have there's 500 tabs in one browser or another, because now I've sent all my work stuff consistently to one browser and I've sent anything else to another browser. And so I can't stress enough just how great this is and how productive it is for me. So, and it's something in Setapp that is just fantastic. And yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I mean, this is money well spent.
It is, and I decided because I wanted to have multiple Macs and then I wanted to have iOS, so I'm paying a little more than I was. I originally had the base subscription, but I'm supporting developers even more by buying into having be able to be on multiple Macs as well as be able to play with iOS apps as well. Their iOS catalog can probably can grow a little more, but it's only been a few years since it's had it. They do have a beta version of their own app store, but of course that's only going to be in the EU, so you won't be able to use it for that. But I think from time to time we're going to talk about Setapp, and if anything new comes up, I think it's a great opportunity to be able to tell everybody about it on the show, and specifically for iOS as well. So it was kind of fun to review here. So, but it gives you another reason to think about getting Setapp there, Eric.
Yeah, I'm looking pretty hard.
So let's go to let's talk a little bit of some of the stories I had. Actually, it was today as we record this. If people don't recall, I shared this story. It was quite a while ago. It's a squirrel versus AT&T fiber internet. The squirrel again got up on the ledge above, right where my connection is into my office, and decided to chew on my fiber again. And it's just what a pain in the butt, honestly. And so again, I had to call somebody out, and we had to get a tech out. The tech, again, a great experience with AT&T fiber. The guy came out like around 10 o'clock, so it was down for a little bit, but all I had to do is run a new cable again, and he goes from the back where the connection is, take my plate off the wall and put another cable in. I hooked back up, and it came right back up. So just kind of frustrating to do with that too. So, but while I was out, I wanted to do kind of a test, and I'm not sure if I'll keep it or not. But T-Mobile's home internet, I tried it a while ago, and when it first came out, and I was very disappointed with it, honestly. So, but I wanted to try it out to see what it was. Their basic plan is around $40 a month that you do auto pay, and it's got some pretty nifty features on it, and I'm going to share an image in the show notes to what that has. But it's incorporated in the T-Life app. So if you are a T-Mobile customer, you can go into sources and be able to go in and manage the network. So you have an overview. You can go to your My Wi-Fi, and it's got cybersecurity protections, and then also has it'll block traffic. So if it sees any bad traffic that's going on, it'll actually block it from right from within the gateway. You can share your Wi-Fi very easily, and surprisingly, it was very fast. I was very impressed, and I was also able to connect the modem right directly to my Eero router. And I tell you, I was streaming videos, and then speeds are on average about 115 megabits and a little higher, so it's about okay. I mean, it's not what I'm getting on AT&T with my 1 gig up and down. So, but yeah, it's pretty hard to beat that. But for a good alternative home internet, and if it's available in your area, it is a very good service. I'm actually very impressed how far T-Mobile has come with with their home internet. So I thought it was very, very interesting to see where that goes. I know, Mario, you tried to get it, and then you couldn't get in your area, right?
Yeah, I got frustrated during a series of outages that we had here,
Yeah.
and it was like, can I just, have this thing delivered to my house? And then they couldn't find an opportunity to have that happen, and they said, well, let us talk to you about our other services because it's not really available in your area. So wouldn't you like to? And I'm like, no, no, don't. But yeah, it's not available in Kent, Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, AT&T did the same thing. Honestly, the tech finished, and not even 10 minutes later, I got a salesperson sitting outside my door, and then calls me, trying to sell me their AT&T cellular service. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm happy. Oh, but we can save you all this money. It's okay. So yeah, they are trying to push you, but I mean, experience even in the store was very good. I mean, the gal actually sat down with me and set the whole thing up. Got it activated and took it out of the box and the whole thing. So it was a really good experience too. So I was able to just bring it home and plug it in. It was ready to go. So good experience. But I'm hoping that this time the tech told me he tied the cable closer and bundled it and cable tied it. So I'm hoping that's going to stop that. As soon as it went out, I knew it. It was good. Squirrel got to it again. Got the big red light on the modem, and oh my gosh, here we go again. So fun story. You got
to get rid of the squirrels, Dave. You got to get rid of the squirrels.
We know how your experience was. So
yeah, we're not going to get into that.
No, we won't get into that. So anybody's thoughts on that? I think it's something that in a pinch, if you can't get it, it isn't a bad deal with the T-Mobile or even AT&T or Verizon. I know they offer they're all offering this home service, and even I believe T-Mobile's potentially going to be releasing fiber at some point too. So the internet landscape it just broadens as we go here. It's no longer your cable company you have to deal with anymore to get internet, but that's how it goes. So let me hit a couple news stories before we wrap up this week. This was interesting. Apple had pulled this convince your parents to get a Mac ad from YouTube. Apple had marked this as private, its day-old parent presentation video on YouTube, meaning that it's no longer available to watch. Apple also had moved its parent presentation onto the bottom of the college students page, effectively burying it. When it was reported that there was a marketing campaign this week on this, the presentation was prominently featured at the top of the page. It's unclear why Apple suddenly hid the ad or if it'll ever return, and Apple would not respond for comment on that. But on social media, I think some people were saying that the ad was cringe or it was cringe or gross. So perhaps Apple pulled it for the video due to overly negative reception. To be clear, it was of course speculation, but yeah, I'm not sure. I did download this presentation. It's nice. We find it interesting that the kid would actually do this presentation with their parents. Why I need a Mac for college, and it goes through and tells you how great a Mac is, and you put your name on it and customize it. It's like do a presentation for your parents. So, what do you think on this, Chuck?
It could have been a fun thing. Naturally, this is one of those things that everybody's going to pick apart one way or another. I kind of understand why there was a little bit of cringe going on, but I also not sure that anybody really expected a majority of kids to go out there and sit their parents down and run a keynote presentation. So, but it certainly could be cute. And look, if it brought any attention to the benefits of buying an Apple product for a student, then good for it. And they tried a videos thing, and maybe they got enough kickback that they just decided not to keep it up. I don't know. I wanted to go and see it. I didn't get there before they took it down, so I really can't comment on just whether it was that cringeworthy or not. But
if you get the link to the keynote, I mean, the first slide is to coach the kid to say you're probably here because you need help convincing your parents to get a Mac for college. Don't worry, you're not alone. Many parents have yet to realize the value of a Mac, and this presentation is designed to change that with an abundance of parent persuading arguments. So
I saw I saw the ad, and you just can't. It's just weird. I'm like, okay, well, this is a different way of looking at it. But, comedy is dead. So in our society, so, it would have been interpreted by me as just being offbeat comedy. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yep. Guy,
and there's one other thing that I hate to bring up. I hate to use the word, but I'm going to. But is this a millennial thing? Is this something that, appeals to that generation who have grown up with presentation decks and video and all as just part of their environment? And are we just? I mean, are we too experienced to appreciate the subtlety of this?
Yeah. Well, the argument is, if it's such a good product, you don't need to convince your parents that with a PowerPoint, and that it did have that old man talking at you kind of approach. So I think you've got something there, Chuck, in that, and it probably didn't speak to the generation that it's intended to, which they have a different way of consuming.
Yep. Eric or Guy, you want anything to add?
Go ahead, Eric.
I know of no child who would create a presentation and present it like this. Unless you went back in time to like the 80s.
Yeah.
They would have been better off giving a prompt to Chat GPT on how to submit, a short text saying, "Hey, I want to get this. Can you help?"
Yep.
I think the target audience wasn't to get kids to create presentations. It was to show parents of these potential college kids the pluses and minuses of getting a Mac. The fact that it was created in such a way to be like, okay, well, this is what you got to do to get your parents to get you a Mac. It's like, no kids are going to do this. But the commercial itself was made to basically be that presentation in a 30 to 45 second way to get parents to get those Macs for their kids. And it fell flat because I think a lot of people just didn't understand who the target audience was, which was not the kids, it was the parents.
Yeah. I want to say this, I'll say it quickly. I think the most effective ad that I have seen Apple do is of recent, and it's the Safari and privacy ad, the one with the, it is very simple. It's kind of, other systems are looking over your shoulder and getting your data. That's not going to happen with Safari. And pushing the strong part of what Apple is marketing, which is privacy issues. And in short, it's there. It's no deeper explanation necessary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would agree with that. So, anything else? Okay. A couple other stories here. It's been 15 years since the iPhone 4 and FaceTime was launched today, this week. It marks 15 years since Apple released the popular iPhone 4 and launched FaceTime in its proprietary video calling service. The iPhone 4 first became available to customers on June 24th, 2010, following its unveiling by Steve Jobs at the company's WWDC earlier that month. It was the first iPhone to feature a high-resolution Retina display that had a whopping pixel density of 326 pixels per inch, making individual pixels imperceivable as a standard viewing distance. Apple described it at the time as offering 4 times the pixel display of previous displays, going to 3G and 3GS, resulting in crisper text and sharper images. It had an industrial design made from stainless steel and glass. It was squared edges, very square, and it also had Apple's first custom designs chip system on the chip, the A4 which debuted with the original iPad. And the A4 improved its performance and battery life compared to the 3GS. When the iPhone 4 shipped, it was introduced with several new software features, including background functionality for third-party apps, home screen folders, and a unified mailbox. Oh, inbox! Wow! And it was also the first iOS version to drop support for an iPhone, the original model. So they dropped the original iPhones during that time. This phone was very famous for that dreaded antenna gate controversy. Remember the external stainless steel antenna band was doubling as a signal receiver, and some users experienced signal degradation. And I seem to remember Steve Jobs saying that, you're holding the phone wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I had this phone, and I pretty much had every iPhone since then, because the big phones didn't come out until the
X.
to the 6, and I had the 6 Max, and but I had the 4, the 4S, the 5, and the 5S, and then the 6 Plus, the 6 Max. No, the 6 Plus. That was what it was.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I tell you, Apple and the iPhone have come a long way. What do you think, Guy?
It was a great phone.
It was.
I ended up kind of skipping it though, because I had just gotten my first phone was a 3GS. And so I skipped the 4, but I did get the 4S and the 6 Plus after that. And the changes in the way that the phone operated and changes in the way that you used apps in relation to the various things that you were doing, it was a gradual progression. Regardless of all the pretty talk that Apple would give us for each of the keynotes that were talking about the device. But all in all, for the most part, there's been very few missteps over the years when it comes to the iPhone and iOS. And you can't say that about a lot of other operating systems.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Marty?
I think I've used FaceTime 3 times in 15 years. And I'm thinking about this, 15 years ago, I was 52 and I grew up in a generation that you put the phone to your ear and you listen to it that way. And so that hasn't changed for me, and it certainly hasn't changed for the people that I'm connected to. Even my kids, I have an aversion myself of just kind of surprisingly, the body image, I don't like the way I look and things like that. And so the idea of projecting that to someone else, let alone finding at the time when it first came out, someone with an iPhone that be willing to do it. I went from audio phone calls, skipped over the video stuff, and went right to texting. So it hasn't been a feature that I've used a lot. I've probably used it more with the Vision Pro because there are things that you can do through FaceTime there.
Mm-hmm.
Marty, you look marvelous.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Chuck, what was your first iPhone?
The very first iPhone.
The original?
The very first iPhone. I will brag a little bit, but I had the incredible privilege of being in the room when Steve introduced the first iPhone.
Yep.
And
that was nice.
And it was one of those things where if there had been a credit card slot beside my seat, I would have stuck the credit card in right then. No question about it.
That was an
that was a
incredible
Macworld
keynote.
It was, and it was, the energy in the room was amazing.
Palpable.
Yeah. And, so I think I skipped one. I can't tell you which one, but for whatever reason that just the enhancement, the addition for 1 year was not enough for me to do it. And then we got the upgrade program, and then I've just gotten a new one every year ever since.
Yep.
And
3GS I started, or 3G I started.
Yeah. And, it sounds kind of hokey, but I can't imagine being without an iPhone at this point. And I don't mean a smartphone, I mean an iPhone. Because of the integration with the Apple ecosystem and how seamless everything is. I don't want to jump through all those other hoops that I see some of these other people trying to do. Everything I need is right here, and it works so well. And I have an embarrassing number of apps on here that I go through every once in a while and think I'm going to get rid of some of these because I really don't need them.
Then you don't.
And then I realize how many times, yes, they might be a very occasional use, but they're still right there. Could I re-download them? Sure, but then you wonder about what kind of connectivity you're going to have when on that moment you need it. So I would just let it sit on screen 11, 12, or 13, and call it up when I need it.
Why not? Eric, anything else you want to add to this?
No, I had the original iPhone. I still remember that. I remember web apps.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we don't have that anymore.
And you couldn't copy and paste.
Yeah. And I didn't have the 4 because I think I had the original the GS. And I went to the 4S. And after that, it was always the don't get anything but the S model. And so it was always the wait for the S model, even when they weren't S models anymore. But yeah, it was really nice. I went through lots and lots and lots and lots of phones.
Me too.
And this
every
was
single one
a
since.
wonderful change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Anything you want to add, Guy?
Not really. I don't get I don't get a phone every single year. I typically wait 2 to 3 years in between. I had the 13 plus before I got, 13 plus. Is that what it was? The larger regular 13?
13 plus. Yeah, I don't know if there was a plus. I think there was a max.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't have the Pro. I didn't have any of the 13 Pro models. I had the bigger of the regular 13.
Oh, maybe there was a 13 plus.
And then I got the 16. So, I typically wait 2 to 3 years in between phones. So I'm usually really, really surprised at how fast they are once I get it. Oh my God, look at this.
It's really fast.
It's really fast. I love it.
All right.
I just
go ahead.
I just every year early on trying to figure out how can I scrape up the money to pay off my old phone so I can get a new one. And then finally they came with the upgrade. No, and just before they came up with the whole upgrade system that was part of it. Once I got on the yearly upgrade system, I haven't looked back. So.
Me either. All right. Last story I want to talk about tonight is CarPlay Ultra. Audi and Mercedes and other car makers are rejecting CarPlay Ultra despite Apple's claims. Audi and Mercedes-Benz are among the car makers to reject CarPlay Ultra despite Apple listing them as a future partner. Of course, as we've talked about, Aston Martin was the first to adopt it, and it's out there now. Porsche says it's going to be using it at some point. But others previously named by Apple have either changed their minds or keep suspiciously quiet. Apple has been talking about the next generation version of CarPlay for a long time, but it wasn't until last month the company officially announced it during WWDC, the CarPlay Ultra. And we know the Ultra builds on the capabilities of CarPlay and gives full screen dashboard functionality, and it integrates all the dashboard system. But there was a new Financial Times report that said that the fellow premium German car brand Audi has likewise made a U-turn and is not alone in this. So, including Mercedes-Benz. So we're going to see where this goes, I guess. What do you guys think about where CarPlay Ultra is going to go? I'll start with Marty.
The drama. Yeah. What am I going to do? Should I get which one of these cars that I won't be able to get anyways, should I try to get because they don't have CarPlay? To me, it's like,
as long as it has CarPlay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't want
first world. This is first world problems.
Yeah. Jock, what do you think?
I feel like if the reason, pardon me, if the reason is that they don't want to give Apple access to certain things, that they're fighting the future. You know, they're still trying to hold on to their control of things. That they should partner with Apple and deliver a superior experience for the driver. But they all think they know best. They all think that experience that they create is a differentiating feature. And I don't know, maybe it is for some people. But you know, I think the consistency of an interface would be highly desirable. If I rent a car somewhere, I'm inevitably looking, okay, where are the windshield wipers? Where are the lights? Where are all the usual controls?
Right.
And if that could be standardized, and especially inside CarPlay, that would be wonderful. So,
Guy, you always made sure you got cars that had CarPlay.
Yes, yes. I look at this as just one more reason why I will not buy a Rolls Royce. What Chuck says is very much the way that I feel about it. The fact that when I do get into a rental car that I have to spend 5, 10, 15 minutes just trying to figure out where all the basic controls are.
Yep.
If I could just plug my phone in and go, oh, okay, well, there's everything right there, and have everything controlled from a touch screen, or even if some of the basic functions are still controlled by switches and buttons and knobs. Oh my.
Yep.
What it really comes down to is fear of an Apple world in car manufacturing. And we saw this, almost 2 years ago now, when GM said that they weren't going to allow, CarPlay in their cars anymore. And it was basically going to be a custom Android/Google kind of experience. And it's like, okay, well, you have just given me, as I said before, yet another reason not to buy a GM car. So, it's, if you want to go ahead and cut off access for probably 75% of the people who might be interested in buying a new car, well, then, you are certainly welcome to do that. And I will just, I guess, stick with, either a Ford or a Mazda or a Kia or whatever, the ones that are giving me the features and controls that I want.
Yep. And to wrap it up with Eric.
Yeah. I at least need CarPlay.
Yeah.
If there's no CarPlay, being able to use a map when you're walking, use a map when you're hiking, use a map when you're, whatever, and you get in a car and it's the same map and you get to your destination, you get out and you can finish walking where you're supposed to go. You can listen to a podcast in the kitchen while you're drinking coffee, walk to your car, continue to listen to the podcast. Just the flow throughout the day as you go through your life is so much easier if you don't have to switch from one environment to the other each time, saying, oh gee, I really wish that I had whatever that music is, or how do I figure out what that, oh never mind, I'll just skip it. Or the more dangerous, I'll just prop my phone here up underneath and try and make that work as a map, or hang an iPad off of the visor or something. None of the options are safe.
Okay. So all right, and then that's what we have to talk about for tonight. But before we leave, I want to make sure we talk about MacStock Conference and Expo. It's 2 weeks away, 14 days. Wow. I can't wait. It's coming up very soon here. So the actual concept for this year is share, and we've got some great speakers and a great time to be had with all of our friends. You can meet new friends. You can see old friends, you can network, you can have a lot of fun. We're going to have a Vision Pro session at night, so you can hang out with Marty, myself, and Eric, and all others that have Vision Pros, and we're going to just be able to demo it and show people how to use it and have fun with that. I'm sure. I mean, we know we're going to be doing a couple podcasts. I know I'll be recording one. Is probably Marty as well. So, it's going to be a great time. All of us except Guy. I'm so sad he's not going to be there.
What microphone will you have, Dave?
Yeah, I know. What microphone do you have? So it's going to be a blast. So just come join us. I don't think I have to say much else. I mean, it's a great deal. It's on July 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's a 3-day event, and if you use the offer code InTouch50 at checkout, you will save $50 off the cost of that ticket. And we'd love to see you. Go to macstockconferenceandexpo.com. Come join us. Can't wait to see everybody. I'll be talking about I'm going to be sharing screenshots and how to use the screen capture program. So it's going to be great. And Marty's going to be doing AI, and then we got a number of other great speakers that are going to be there as well. So come see us. macstockconferenceandexpo.com. Offer code is InTouch50 at checkout. All right, so that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon at InTouchWithIOS. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and you'll be notified when we are live streaming, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thanks, Webb Bixby, and the number of others who are in the chat tonight. We're glad to see you. You can you can watch the past live streams and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics are discussed that are going to be flipped in that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there on that site. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky, Mastodon at DaveG65. And I'm going to mix it up here a little bit. Marty Gencius, so glad you were here this week. Where can people find you?
People can find me at Gencius, Gencius, at bluesky.com, also at mastodon.social. Thepodtalk.net is the website that has all of the podcasts I'm involved in. Of course, Thursday nights here, Tuesday nights with Chuck, and Monday nights are kind of the big thing. We do vision profiles with Eric and Dave and some other folks who come in and join, which is great. And I've added in 3 weekly drops of news on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Little 5 to 10 minute segment called Vision Pro Notes. And it's kind of the news that came out between the Monday shows that we'll talk about on the next Monday show.
Yeah, that's a great new concept. Thanks for doing that. And thanks for being here. Eric Bolden, thank you for being here. Always a pleasure having you here. Where can people find you?
I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.to. Again, Mondays with my Vision OS and on Vision Profiles. Tuesdays with Mac OS on Mac Voices, and Thursdays with iOS, iPad OS, and Vision OS on In Touch with iOS.
Yes, thank you for being here. Guy Cyril, thank you for being here as well. Where can people find you?
Well, you can send me an email to guy@mymac.com. The podcast is currently on a slight hiatus, but we will be returning in one form or another. So, check your audio dial to see where it is that we're going to pop up. Also, there is the YouTube channel that I have, which you can subscribe to, called Vert Shark. You can see all kinds of stuff, including Dave on Mac to the Future so many years ago.
I was going to say, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And you can see all the various different ways that I tried to get that show off the ground. It's quite comedic sometimes on how poorly so many of these tools were working at the time, but it was fun to try. So send me email guy@mymac.com, and we will keep you all updated on when the various shows will be coming back.
Very good. Thank you, Guy. And last but certainly not least, Chuck Joyner. Thank you as always for your support and being here on the show. I appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Hey, Dave, thank you. It's always fun. I always look forward to it. MacVoices.com is where you can find us. We may or may not have wrapped up the road to Mac stock yet. There may be a couple more surprises, so stay tuned. Otherwise, there is plenty of content over there. We do the live show, as someone, I think at least one referenced, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. On all of the socials, you can find me as at Chuck Joyner.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we appreciate you for being here and listening and watching. And we have a blast doing it. And we'll be back next week. But until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk again soon. All right. Yay. Great show.
I'm really glad we got it done because there's a big red blob heading for my house.
Yeah, there's a couple heading toward mine too.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna say goodbye to live stream. Bye live stream.
Well, if you watch this